we've got to start in Cleveland with your San Francisco 49ers. I know you're going to take heat tomorrow morning, so let's just get it out of the way right now.
There's no heat to take.
What the hell happened, man? Come on.
I'm very impressed with how they played. They played a really good game. That defense is a legitimate contender. That's a legitimate defense, they're all time with some of their stats right now, how they've been playing all season, and especially in comparison to the pretenders we played last week. The Dallas Cowboys were frauds. These were legitimate number one defense. And Myles Garrett is a legitimate defensive player of the year candidate, and that's disruptive. Jim Schwartz called a heck of a game. It was a good learning lesson, like I've said all year. Sometimes you need a wake-up call. You don't want to go undefeated and get the wake-up call in the playoffs, because then it's too late and it's over. This team is going to learn from this. They responded to adversity. Brock Purdy played a very tough game. Had a lot of misfires. It was raining, muddy. He's dropping the ball slipping out of his hand. And when the team needed it down the stretch, he completed passes. He got the ball down the field, and they missed the kick. I'm sure Kyle Shanahan is feeling the same way. I'm feeling very encouraged, very good. The injury bug hit them. That's one thing that I'm sure he's concerned about. CMC went out with the injury. Trent Williams walked out in a boot. So you do got to address those things. Deebo Samuel had a shoulder injury that put him in street clothes in the second half. So those things are very concerning, but you look up at the game and you see a 3rd and 11 that's incomplete. And, they give him a unnecessary roughness call that looked like a clean hit on the replay. Initially, it looked like a clean hit, but whatever. It's the game of football. People make mistakes. They make bad calls sometimes, but Diamador Lenore, before he went out with a calf injury, was playing some really good football. He slipped on one play to Amari Cooper. But again, it's the same thing I said about the Dallas Cowboys. They have a number one receiver on this team. And he went up and made number one receiver type plays when they needed to have him. He made great plays, and you got to give him all the credit in the world. Randy Gregory had a sack in his first game. Nicholas John Bosa got a sack. So there were silver linings all over the place, but unfortunate loss. But kudos to Cleveland. Their defense is legitimate, and I'm sure San Francisco is going to make the necessary corrections to get back at it.
Well, they didn't lose to Deshaun Watson, Richard. They lost to P.J. Walker. And to your point, you touched on it last week, Amari Cooper is no joke, and he made some big-time plays for Cleveland down the stretch throughout the middle of the game. He put life into that offense. Like you said, it was raining. It was muddy. The elements were certainly in play in this game. Cleveland's got a hell of an offense, and unfortunately, the rookie Jake Moody did not come through in the clutch, had another missed field goal in this game. They spent a 3rd-round pick on Jake Moody in this year's draft. This is going to be a test for him because, as you know, Richard, kickers, it's all mental. And how he recovers from this, it's going to be telling.
Yeah, I'm sure Robbie Gould is sitting somewhere making sure that he's keeping his leg live, because they're not going to stand for that in the playoffs. If he continues to perform like this, he missed 2 field goals in a game, they will call somebody else up that is more reliable and that can get the job done. And, maybe he doesn't have the leg to get it from 57, but inside of 50, he was almost automatic. And he's still, I think it was 19 or 20 for 20 in the playoffs and didn't miss. So that's one of those things you're kind of concerned about, because, it's a 2-score game and they missed 2 field goals. Cleveland missed the field goal. But again, Brock Purdy took them down the field when they needed it, gave him a chance, a 40-something yard field goal, chip shot, get it in. He missed it. It is what it is. Give Cleveland the credit they deserve. P.J. Tucker threw 2 interceptions, but did enough to get the win. Kareem Hunt played good. Jerome Ford ran the ball really well. Martin Anderson had the interception, Brock Purdy's first interception of the season. Amari Cooper, we talked about it, 4 catches for 108. Some very dynamic plays. Huge play on a long, that might have been a second down or a 3rd and long, but huge play, jump ball, got his feet in bounds, just acrobatic. Made another play where he got down the field, made a guy miss. He played a good game, and they got to correct some things. Something magical happens when the 3rd quarter ends and the 4th quarter begins. The energy changes. The 4th quarter is where games are won, where champions are made. And in business, it's where sales teams become legends. That's why HubSpot built Sales Hub to give sales reps the deal-making tools they need to win in Q4 and close the year strong. Sales Hub's prospecting workspace organizes your schedule, goals, and to-do list in one place to save your team precious fourth quarter time. Smart sequences help sales reps close deals faster than ever. With an easy-to-use management tool, reps can find, track, and close deals all in one place. Plus, AI forecasting helps you accurately predict future success, which means less hoping for deals and more crushing targets. Put your sales team on the fast track to winning Q4 with Sales Hub. Learn more at HubSpot.com/sales.
Let's go to New York. We saw a shocker, and this we started off this this podcast with any given Sunday, and this certainly was any given Sunday. The Jets look different now. I don't know if Zach Wilson has gotten more comfortable, or if it's the defense, or if it's a combination of both. But anytime you beat the Philadelphia Eagles, in a nail biter for the most part, that they were down to the wire with this game, and the Jets come out victorious. Richard, talk to me about the Jets. Have they turned the corner? I mean, have they overcome the emotions of losing Aaron Rodgers? Do you see this team competing for a playoff spot down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean, they're a well-coached team, and they're battling. I don't think many teams could have got off the mat losing the guy you traded for, the unquestioned leader of your team, one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. The first week of the season, when you have all these expectations, a lot of people would mail it in, coaches included, and say, woe is me. Feel sorry for themselves. Why does this got to happen to us? Oh, we hate it. And you know what they did? They said, you know what? Strap it up. We're going to go out there regardless of the circumstances, and we're going to put it on tape, especially this defense. We're going to battle our tails off every week, and that's exactly what they did. They came in here against a team that just went to the Super Bowl in the Philadelphia Eagles, a well-coached, well-manned, talented football team, and they held them down all the way throughout the game, and they battled them. Every test throughout the game, they passed. They kept passing tests. And you got to give Zach Wilson a lot of credit. He didn't play a perfect game, but he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't lose them the game. 19 for 33 for 186. Solid game for Zach Wilson. Don't turn the ball over. 0 turnovers is the big important thing. Breece Hall, 12 rushes for 39 yards. Nothing special, but that touchdown reigns supreme. Garrett Wilson, one of the best games of his season. 8 catches for 90 yards. You got to give them a lot of credit, but it was that defense. The Tony Allen interception late in the fourth quarter, almost a pick six, is what really determined the outcome of this game. Obviously, Bryce Hall, who was subbing in for DJ Reed, they were without both of their starting corners. They were without DJ Reed and Sauce. And I didn't think it was possible for them to stick around in this game without DJ Reed and Sauce. But shout out to Bryce Hall. He played an outstanding game along with the interception. Quinnen Williams, who was all over the place all night, had another interception. 4 turnovers total. They forced a fumble on DeAndre Swift, who's a very sure-handed back, hadn't fumbled on the season. He's playing as well as anybody, but they held him for 18 yards. They held all their running backs combined for 33 yards. It was a really good game. Even when Philly's defense showed up in a big way, Hassan Reddick played his best game of the season, 2.5 sacks. Josh Sweat had a sack. They had 5 sacks as a team. Did not lose confidence. The Jets did not. Salah, when Quincy Williams made the game-saving tackle at the end, or you see him doing his celebration with his players. The enthusiasm, the confidence, the belief, and the faith that this man has in his players, and how much effort. That's why they're playing so hard for him, because they know this man is fighting for them each and every day. Gonna watch film and find out every single little nugget that he can find to give them a best shot to win the game. And that's what they're doing. They're battling. They're going into a bye to get a little healthier. They're getting some encouragement. I don't know what Aaron's doing. I don't know what he's doing. Because he's 6 weeks out of surgery, and he's out there playing catch, throwing, and pushing off the surgically repaired foot. Ruh-roh. I don't know, Mitchell. I've never seen nothing like it. At 6 weeks after surgery, I was still on a scooter. I'm not talking Scooter Braun. Like, Mitchell, I was not throwing playing catch or anything. So it's definitely encouraging, and I'm sure his teammates are seeing it and finding some encouragement. I don't know if he's doing that on purpose, but man, he's giving those guys hope, and they're giving the Jets fans a lot of hope. Jets, Jets, 2 wins in a row heading into the bye. Feeling good.
That's huge. And it's all gas, no brakes with Robert Saleh, as you know, Richard. And this defense did just that, 4 turnovers. But a little bit on Zach Wilson. You see this maturity in his game, and you touched on it briefly ago. Like, no turnovers on his side. I know he didn't have the yardage. The statistics weren't there, but he was given his big-time playmakers on the outside those opportunities. You know, Garrett Wilson's going and making some big plays. 8 catches, 90 yards. I mean, this is something that we saw when we were watching the Thursday night game when Russell Wilson was not giving his wide receivers any chances at all. I mean, that's the biggest thing with these quarterbacks. Zach Wilson, be conservative with your approach. Be a game manager, but give your big-time playmakers those opportunities to make big-time plays. Garrett Wilson bailed them out with some big-time plays today. Richard, these Jets going into the bye, we'll see what happens. The Eagles, on the other hand, next Sunday night, we finally get a good primetime game against the Miami Dolphins. Could they be going back-to-back losses here?
They could easily be going back-to-back all losses because of the injury bug. Again, these big-time contenders, these heavyweight fights. They lost Lane Johnson, one of the best tackles in the National Football League, and then you saw the difference. Quentin Williams and Bryce Huff really started getting after the quarterback once Lane Johnson went down. You could see the difference between Lane Johnson being there and Lane Johnson not being in there. There was a lot more pressure, and then you saw the reaction from Jalen Hurts. Probably his worst game as a pro. 3 interceptions against this defense, and they weren't just gimmies. These were earned interceptions. These guys are in the right place at the right time, making big plays. And it could have been a fourth. It could have been a fourth if Jay Whitehead had held on to that one at the end. It could have been 4 interception day for him. So they got to go back to the drawing board there. They got to find a way to protect him. They got to find a way to protect the ball. But great for the Jets. Great for Robert Saleh. I couldn't be happier for him. Going into a bye, get to rest, get to keep preparing. Good stuff.